On November 8, 2024, FBI agents approached Anas Saeed, a 28-year-old Houston resident. They were executing an arrest warrant. Now, the agents directed Mr. Saeed several times to put his hands up, but he ignored their commands and violently threw an object from his hand to the ground. Continuing to ignore commands, the defendant once again reached for an object and appeared to smash it on the ground. Agents later determined the object he smashed was his cell phone. FBI agents then took him to the ground before he could run and placed him under arrest. After being Mirandized and agreeing to speak with agents, Saeed explained, allegedly in great detail, the level and extent of his support for a foreign terrorist organization, ISIS, otherwise known as the Islamic State in Iraq and al-Sham. My name is Alamdar Hamdani, and I am the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Texas, and I'm here to announce the issuance on October 30th, 2024, of a one-count indictment against Anas Saeed for attempting to provide material support or resources to a designated foreign terrorist organization, namely ISIS. ISIS was born out of al-Qaeda in Iraq. ISIS is a terrorist organization that came to prominence in 2013 and seeks to establish a worldwide Muslim caliphate. ISIS is characterized by ultra-violent public executions. For example, it has terrorized civilian populations by lashings and amputations, attacking, raping, killing, and enslaving Iraqis and Syrians. In 2014, ISIS attacked a Syrian airfield, captured hundreds of men, stripped them naked, walked them through the desert, and then executed them, sending out a video of hundreds of dead bodies in the desert. ISIS has kidnapped and publicly killed Americans, including journalists. ISIS once shot 13 young boys in the head for watching a soccer match. And as recently as January 3rd, 2024, at least 84 people were killed and another 284 injured in twin explosions in Iran, also claimed by ISIS. And in March of this year, at least 137 people were killed in an attack at a shopping complex in Moscow. Attackers were armed with guns and incendiary devices, opened fire at random. ISIS also claimed responsibility for this. ISIS, this brutally violent terrorist organization, relies heavily on foreign fighters to do their bidding, many from the West. They use them to fight overseas, or worse, to commit acts in the United States. And to do that recruiting, ISIS has leveraged the internet and social media to recruit foreign fighters. That's why we are here. It's because of Saeed's alleged role in ISIS's recruitment of propaganda operations to get foreign fighters. Now, what I'm going to read to you are some facts that are alleged in a memorandum in support of detention that has been filed. It was filed a couple of days ago. And these allegations are from that document. First of all, a search of Saeed's electronic devices allegedly revealed pro-ISIS images and communications. For example, Mr. Saeed communicated with the official media outlet for ISIS known as Sar al-Khalifa, the Tower of the Caliphate. He also had pro-ISIS propaganda videos and flyers he created. Now, when it came to ISIS's media outlet, Saeed allegedly created and edited at least 5 videos and 2 images that he then sent to an alleged ISIS social media and web designer. We'll call him the designer. The videos and images were sent to the designer for wider distribution. Each time, the designer provided him with extensive feedback and instruction, and often provided numerous rounds of edits. Saeed then allegedly implemented the web designer's changes. On at least one occasion, the web designer disseminated a video produced by Mr. Saeed. He disseminated that video to other ISIS supporters. These pro-ISIS videos and images focused on ISIS's use of violence and what they do. And if you look at the screens, you can see stills from those images, from those videos, scrolling through. In addition to that, there were other actions that Saeed did as it related to ISIS. Saeed allegedly discussed his desire to travel overseas to commit violent jihad in his messages. Such communications included the discussion on his alleged plans to commit violent acts in Houston and his desire even to use an explosive belt. Saeed not only supported ISIS online, but also allegedly researched and investigated means of conducting attacks in the United States, including scouting potential military recruitment centers and identifying military members in the area. As I mentioned earlier, Saeed is charged with one count of attempting to provide material support to a designated foreign terrorist organization, ISIS. And this carries a maximum sentence of 20 years. Now, he's currently scheduled for a hearing this afternoon to determine whether or not he should be held pending the trial. Individuals or groups cannot use social media to provide material support to ISIS or other terrorist organizations. Those who create propaganda on behalf of a designated foreign terrorist organization are national security threats. Look, I've been at the DOJ for 17 years. And most of my 17 years I've spent chasing terrorists and spies. And to do that, I have to work side by side with my partners at the FBI and their Joint Terrorism Task Force. And it takes all of us, HPD, the Harris County Sheriff's Office, and the FBI and other agencies to make sure that we hold people to account. To those wannabe terrorists who believe they can hide behind encrypted apps or anonymous social media profiles, please understand that we will find you and we will hold you to account. With that, let me turn it over to my good friend, Special Agent in charge of the FBI in Houston, Doug Williams.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And before I get started into my comments, I wanna thank our partners and my friends from the Houston Police Department and the Harris County Sheriff's Office and all the other law enforcement members that are a member of our Joint Terrorism Task Force as we really stand here shoulder to shoulder today in combating terrorism in Houston. Today is a good day. Scratch that. Today is a great day. We've taken a suspected terrorist off the streets of Houston, Texas, and that's something we at the FBI didn't get to publicly say very often. That suspect, as you've heard, is 28-year-old Anas Saeed, who is accused of attempting to provide material support to ISIS, a designated foreign terrorist organization, and by his own admission, planning a terrorist attack on U.S. soil from his apartment here in Southwest Houston. Since 2017, Saeed has been on the radar of the FBI Houston's Joint Terrorism Task Force, or JTTF. Our early investigation determined Saeed frequently viewed ISIS literature and other online propaganda. He held a deep affinity for high-ranking ISIS personnel and even ordered custom propaganda to outwardly show his support for ISIS. FBI agents have interviewed Saeed multiple times since he came to our attention in 2017. However, due to the October 7, 2023 Hamas attacks on Israel, Saeed's behavior began to mobilize towards violence. As a result of this path towards violence, he jumped to the top of our list of national security threats here in Houston. Our JTTF uncovered multiple social media accounts used by Saeed, which clearly displayed his continued support for ISIS and his encouragement of their violent acts. Even more concerning, investigators with our JTTF learned Saeed was searching for ways to commit violent acts in the United States on our soil and right here in Houston, Texas. He admitted to discussing how best to conduct an attack on local military recruiting centers. He admitted to wanting to use explosives to commit a mass killing here in Houston. He offered his home as a safe sanctuary to ISIS operatives. He bragged that he would commit a 9/11 style attack if he only had the resources. And he expressed the desire to join the U.S. military just so he could commit an act once he was inside their ranks. Fortunately, and thanks to the long and countless months, days, and hours worked by our investigators and JTTF partners, we stopped Saeed's plan from becoming a reality. Anas Saeed was arrested last week by Houston JTTF members and our partners up here today at his home in Houston, Texas. You have no idea how proud I am to say that. We stopped the terrorist act from happening right here in Houston, and any day we can publicly say that is a great day. The FBI is the United States lead agency for combating terrorism and protecting the American people from international and domestic terrorism. Terrorism moves at the speed of social media, and we see radicalization happen online now more than ever. Today, the primary international terrorism threat to the United States is without a doubt homegrown violent extremists like Anas Saeed. Since 9/11, 2001, the FBI's mission has been to prevent terrorist attacks before they happen, not just respond to the aftermath of an attack. As members of the community who live and work here, we should all be tremendously proud of the FBI's Houston Joint Terrorism Task Force. Our JTTF leverages the resources, skills, and authorities of our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners to identify and combat terrorism threats 24/7. Those partners are standing with me here today. To every single person at FBI Houston and our partners on the Joint Terrorism Task Force who missed holidays, birthday celebrations, family events, special occasions, and endless sleepless nights and long weekend shifts, thank you. On behalf of our Houston community and the American people, thank you. Because of you and your dedication to our mission, a suspected terrorist is now behind bars and in federal custody. Our community is safer because of you. I often get asked how we measure success at the FBI. The FBI is in the business of disrupting terrorist acts every single day. Our success is measured by the attacks we have prevented, most of which you will never hear about in the news. Today's announcement is just one more example of how we protect American people. Today is a great day. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to the U.S. Attorney.
Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, do you anticipate any other arrests related to this gentleman?
So investigations are always ongoing, we're always investigating, so I'll leave it with that.
Can you tell us a little bit about his life here in Houston? Did he have a job? How long had he been here? What was he doing?
Yes, he was born in Houston. He spent, I think, a good part of his childhood in Lebanon, where his family is from. I'm not sure about what his job was or is at the time. I do know he lived with his mother and his brother in an apartment here.
Did he go to school here? I mean, he was born and raised.
Yeah, he was born in the United States. I think he spent, probably up until 14 years old in Lebanon. Then he came. Yes.
Can you clarify if you ever owned or attempted to buy explosives?
Right. So what we are aware of is that we saw material about him wanting to build an explosive belt. That's what I can talk about allegedly from the memorandum. Beyond that, but I do know he has materials about he has materials about how to build TATP. He has materials about how to build a bomb and explosives, and then he also talked about having an explosive spell.
When you say he admitted to wanting to commit an act, a terrorist act against military recruiting centers, is that during FBI interviews? Just to clarify.
I can tell you that as part of the investigation. And so he also talked about certain acts, but I can tell you as part of the investigation, that's what we looked.
Did anybody ever come to y'all with concerns about his behavior? You know, any family, friends, anything like that?
So the investigation began because we know he had ordered some propaganda, and he had some propaganda. From that point on, we did talk to family members, and as you'll see in the memorandum that was filed, some of those family members did express concern about their brother and their son.
Can you say more about the conversations that the FBI had the several years preceding his arrest?
Yeah, so, the FBI had interviewed him back in 2017, I believe, 2018, 2019, and then earlier this year. And so through that time, the FBI has interviewed him. And I can talk about the most recent interview that we had. And in those, he admitted to his support of ISIS. He admitted to providing the videos for ISIS. He admitted to creating and working with what we call the designer.
Were you able to recover data from the cell phone he smashed?
I believe we were.
Could you elaborate more on the threats to the Israeli community? Was it specifically here in Houston?
Yeah, so when he talked about his threats to the Israeli community, it was while he was here in Houston. That's right.
Could you elaborate more on that? Maybe what was he saying about them?
Yeah, so from the what we have in the memorandum that we filed, he has allegedly discussed he has allegedly discussed as far as Israel goes and his views as to what's happening right now in Gaza and post October 7th. And let's just say this: he's no fan of Israel or Israelis.
Did he have plans to target anything other than those military recruitment centers? Like, was he trying to go after certain areas?
Yeah. So what I can talk about are the military recruitment centers only, and what we do know about that. As I said, our investigation continues, and we'll be going through the rest of his media and seeing what else we have.
So these charges are only for that?
These charges are really specifically related to the provision of material support as it relates to the videos and the propaganda. And it may also include other attempts for material support as well that we've not talked about. All right, well, everybody, thank you so much for your time. And with that, we'll conclude the press conference.